downtown Des Moines and the Iowa Girls State Basketball Tournament. The dreams of girls across the state of Iowa to win a state championship. 10 teams go for a title this weekend. Welcome in once again another edition of Girls Basketball Breakdown here on CISN. I'm Tent Condon, joined by the head coach of the West Des Moines Valley Tigers, Joe Sigrist, and from Beyond Ball, it is my man Chris Morrow. Guys, more action here today. The title tilt is set in Class 5A. It'll be an all-CIML affair, but great day of basketball as it continues here at Wells Fargo.
Oh, it was another fantastic day, Trent.
Chris, we got to see a couple of good ones on the 5A side.
Yeah, it was fun. Like you said, get ready for some action, and there was definitely some action in the first game.
Well, before we get into those semifinals in Class 5A, let's take a look back at what we saw in the smaller classes, classes 1A through 4A. We're going to start things off with the smallest class, Class 1A, but certainly nothing small about the performance out of Bishop Garrigan as they run past Martinsdale St. Mary's 55-40, and their center, Audie Crooks for Bishop Garrigan. Joe, she was outstanding.
Oh, the freshman, yeah, she is unstoppable down low, and she showed that early and often.
There's Crooks inside, and the hands, that's something that certainly stood out to me. It's one thing to be 6'3", but to have those soft mitts.
Yeah, it helps a lot when you're that big and you can throw a high pass and you know she's going to go get it.
Martinsdale St. Mary's trying to hang around, pair it with the putback bucket there as Martinsdale St. Mary's, the Blue Devils, hanging with them early on, but again, you're going to see it's going to look like a lot of times the same highlight package, just going in there, going to work, Audie Crooks. And what's the game plan when you're playing a player with that kind of size? What do you do?
I don't know. I haven't faced many 6'3" girls, even at the 5A level. So when you have this at a 1A school, you have to allocate a lot of bodies defensively to her, and it's really hard to do because at least shooters wide open.
Shooters also helping out for Bishop Garrigan. They hit 3 3-pointers in the game, but again, looking for Crooks inside. And the footwork, too. You see a lot of that, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, she sealed them on the high side. They try to go behind her, and she was always in the right position.
There's a steal and a run out for Bishop Garrigan. Bishop Garrigan with the win. They go to 24-1 on the year. Martinsdale St. Mary's fought hard throughout this one. Just couldn't get enough offense generated.
Yeah, not enough offense, and like you said, they just didn't have an answer for their big girl inside, and yeah, they should nothing to be upset about.
There's another 3-pointer from, check that, a putback from Crooks going up in traffic there. And the rebounding that she has to that size. And how about the soft touch of the foul line?
Yeah, she shows really good touch, and defensively, I think they can just put her in the middle, let her change shots, defensively, and she's going to get those rebounds.
And you see her here defensively, just standing there, trying to take up as much space as possible on the defensive end and what she can do offensively. Good. And then when you go to the weak side there, away from her, look at the openings.
Yeah, and that's what Martinsville was trying to do, and they were concentrating so much on her that it left something open on the backside. So,
victory for Bishop Garrigan, 55-40 in Class 1A. They move on to the state semifinals. Let's bump up to Class 2A with our next highlight package here on Girls Basketball Breakdown as we go to Northland and Western Christian. Two programs. Well, we know about both these programs on the boys' side and the success that both of them had. Girls team playing very well also at the 2A level as they get out early here, and we see a steal doing it with defense and the left-handed lay-in for Flanagan.
Yeah, Northland's got some really talented scorers. They had 3 in double figures today. So, when they push the tempo and get after you defensively, they can really get going.
3-pointer there for Sydney Burke as she hit 2 of 4 of her 3-pointers in the game. Western Christian, though, battling back late in the first half. Good bucket there for the Wolfpack, and Van Hull, with the shot there. Then a 3-pointer, and just like that, they were right back in the game, back within 1.
Yeah, this game was back and forth all game long, and it just never knew who was going to come out until the very end.
That's the difficult part. You play on the big stage, you make the long trip for these schools, and certainly for Western Christian from Northwest Iowa, come all the way down. And you just never know. You never know how it's going to be. Got to be ready from the opening whistle.
Yeah, both of these are successful programs that have had some really great history here in Des Moines. So it was a great game. Northland wins by 5.
49-44, the final in that one is the advancement for North Lynn, as you see, moving on to the semifinals. Let's jump up to Class 3A now, and our next group of highlights here as we go through the smaller classes. Class 3A, Dike New Hartford against Jessup. Couple of conference mates getting together. Joe, it's a little bit different for you guys in the CIML, but you see this. Dike New Hartford got Jessup pretty handily both times, the first 2 times that they faced off with the Jayhawks. They were right there. They played very well against the Wolverines.
They did. They kept it within 13, and anytime you play a team and beat a team twice in the regular season, it makes it real challenging to get that next one at such a big venue like Wells Fargo Arena.
Big three-pointer there. Here's again Jessup getting off to that hot start. And that's important too. When you played a team that's beat you a couple of times, a good start, getting the girls to believe.
Yeah, you've got to get that confidence early, and I thought Jessup did a nice job of trying to build some confidence early as well.
Dike New Hartford comes back though, and they make plays offensively as they have throughout this season. One of the best teams. They were ranked #1 coming in, and certainly showed it in this one as they start to get a little bit going here. And boy, it was really a whole lot of Foster there. Great looking pull-up.
Yeah, that was a great move. She did in-betweens and then just a pull-up jump shot, but just natural.
Val with the three-pointer there. Dike New Hartford, after Jessup got that early lead, came back. Jessup not going away, corner three-pointer as they're hanging around in the first half. This one goes to the half. It's a 25-23 game into the second half. We go from there. Jessup hanging around, making shots. That a good looking shot out there by number 30, Brianna Lichtfelter. And again, here they are leading in the second half, and this is the time. You're on the other side, Joe. You felt this too. Teams that you beat a couple of times, you see that other team gaining confidence.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to the coaching staff for Jessup. I mean, they had them ready to play. They came out, they were in the game, into the second half, and then Dike New Hartford kind of took over a little bit.
And we're seeing here with the Wolverines coming off the cut, get that open look in the corner, splashed in for Dike New Hartford. Wolverines win this one 56-43. Jessup sees their season come to a close at 20-5 on the year. Dike New Hartford on to the semifinals at 23-1. We'll finish up with a couple of Class 4A matchups and a couple of real good ones, starting with Ballard and Lewis Central. Joe, a couple of teams you know a little something about.
Yeah, we scrimmaged Ballard mid-season and then played Lewis Central toward the end of the season. Both very good teams, contrasting styles a little bit, but it turned into a one-point game in overtime.
There's Maggie Larson, nice back cut there. She gets the bucket at the rim and then finds a bit of a crease. Ballard, they're the Bombers, and they do bomb it.
They shoot it really well. I think they hit 10 threes against us in our scrimmage, so I knew that would be tough for Lewis Central to defend.
Cassidy Thompson on the putback. There's another three-pointer from Ballard as they raced out to an early lead against Lewis Central. But this one was back and forth. Here's a little putback off the window. Good work there by Cassidy Thompson as she's doing work for Ballard. But here comes Lewis Central back on the other side.
Yeah, another just nice drive and pull-up shot off the movement. And it's tough when you have a player that can do that for you.
Double-digit lead early for Ballard, but Lewis Central never hung their heads. They kept fighting throughout this one. Got it back into it. Here's late in the first half, about 2 minutes to go. A three-pointer and into the third quarter. And the run continued for Lewis Central. And that happens. Momentum, it's important.
And I was really impressed with Lewis Central's athleticism when we played them. They were really tough on the boards. You just knew it was a team that wasn't going to go away.
Ballard with the three. Maggie Larson again with another triple. As this one was back and forth into the fourth quarter. A corner three. Ballard back within a couple. They get another shot added, another three-pointer, and just like that, Ballard leads.
Yeah, and a big shot right there, and it comes down to a free throw, and unfortunately she wasn't able to hit it, and big board, and they got a chance again.
You see Lewis Central going out there, get the timeout, set up the final play, what they wanted to do, and here's this. Got the defense asleep just a little bit there on that back cut.
Yeah, great setup play out of a timeout for Lewis Central, and a big basket to go ahead and finish the game with that.
So into overtime after that. Here's missed free throw from Lewis Central as Ballard comes out, a chance to win it. No timeouts. What are you looking to set up? You get the drive to the rim just like you want.
Really good look on the baseline. She gets the baseline drive. It just doesn't go. Back iron. Tough one.
Thompson, who had been so good throughout the game up until that point, she was 5 of 7 from the floor. Unfortunately for the Bombers of Ballard, though, she finishes 5 of 8 on that missed shot there. A 1-point victory as Lewis Central moves on to the semifinals. One more highlight package for you in Class 4A. Let's go to Gilbert and Glenwood. You were saying, Morrow, this is one of your favorites that you saw.
Yeah, I was here for this one, and this was a true track match. It was back and forth, back and forth. It was so fast, and it was a real fun game to watch.
Here's Gilbert on the push. Gilbert in the red uniforms, white for Glenwood and the Rams working in the paint. Love to see that. Good hands going up strong with the ball and then finishing. But here comes Glenwood, and that speed as you see coast to coast there, getting to the tin, and a nice finger roll lay-in for Abby Hughes.
Yeah, and that's what they did all game long. They have tough guards, young tough guards that are quick and that can get to the rim, but also break down the defense to kick out for shots.
Early lead for Glenwood. They led it by 9, but Gilbert fighting their way back, trying to claw back into the second half. Good strong finish in the paint for Theoroto, and two teams that a lot of young kids. These two teams are going to be, you expect, back probably next year.
Yeah, most return. Both teams return most everyone, and it was a really high-scoring game that, you know, when you get 3 girls in double figures, I think a lot of times you have the advantage. Glenwood got 6 girls in double figures in this game.
89 points for the Rams in the victory. Here's a three-pointer from Gilbert on the triple out there from Sydney Lynch. As 6 of 22, though, from Gilbert from downtown. Beat a team like Glenwood. Certainly going to have to shoot it just a little bit better than that. Here's a run out by Gilbert as they fought their way back into it, got back within 3.
Yeah, and Ava Hawthorne, I just made that layup. She played great. She had 31 points on the game, and she's only a sophomore, so really big game out of her.
14 and 25 from the floor, but Glenwood right back at it again. There's the run out, taking contact and finishing. One of those players in double figures, Abby Hughes, as she had 12 for Glenwood. The Rams advance on 89-75. Glenwood is into the state semifinals. Well, guys, as we look across some of the smaller classes here, getting ready, those semifinal games are happening as we're talking here today. But we had the semifinals already set in Class 5A, and a pair of great basketball games, great teams. A lot of D1 players on the floor today, Joe.
Oh, it was another high talent, talented floor today with the semifinals, and it lived up to its billing.
Absolutely. Like you said, there's D1 players all over the court in both games today, so a lot of action and a lot of great players today.
Well, we are going to talk about some of those great players, and of course you can vote for our great players and the player of the day. Find us on Twitter at CISN TV and make the vote for your player of the day. Let's get into the highlight package from Game 1. Bright and early, 10 a.m. The Johnston Dragons in the tournament for the 6th consecutive season, trying to get to the title game for the second time during that run as they take on the number 2 seed, Iowa City High. It was as anticipated, number 2 versus number 3. Iowa City High gets off to a hot start. Rose Nagumu goes to the rim right away on the opening tip, but it was Anna Gosling early for Johnston.
Yeah, she really set the momentum for him early, scoring the first 7 points of the game for him and just giving that momentum early for Johnston. Usually you think McDermott or someone's going to come out, but it was Gosling that came out hot.
On the other side, it was a lot of Aubrey Jones as she led the way in scoring for City High. Nice back cut there. Gosling again got going. There's Kendall Nee to pull up jumper. She battled through foul trouble, though, in the first half. Always tough with one of your star players.
It is. When you have one of your star players have 3 fouls in the first half, you really have to be careful with that as a coach, but their role players really stepped up for them today.
Here's Nagubu for City High with the drive and the finish in the lane. First half, though, City High was really shooting the ball well from the outside. There's another Jones. Yeah, there's another one coming as the freshman hits the triple in that one. But it seemed like every time City High would make any kind of move, Johnston would have an answer.
Yeah, and you just saw the girl that came in for Kendall. She just hit 3 threes and back to back to back and kind of really stepped in big in that second quarter while Need was out.
Molly Nelk, yep.
Nelk outstanding, the freshman, but here's Jones again. Back cut, Maya McDermott, who was quiet scoring, but she facilitated and doesn't always have to be another great assist right here to Gosling.
No, I mean, she still facilitated everything today with 14 points, 6 assists, 8 rebounds. I mean, she was involved in almost every play.
7-point lead here for Johnston after the free throw. Jones not giving up. This might have been one of the plays of the game. Gosling tips it away and then sells the official on the call.
Absolutely, and that's what you love from a player. Hey, if you don't know if it's out on you or not, you better sell it the right way, and she definitely did.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Need with the bucket as she played throughout. It had those 3 fouls in the first half. Didn't have another foul the rest of the game. Breaking the pressure, Maya McDermott, she's fouled, and smile on her face. Maya McDermott always seems to have a smile on her face, though, right, Coach?
She does, and I have to give Maddie Mock some credit. She had another double-double, 11 points, 10 rebounds. It seemed like she limited City High to 1 shot every time down the floor.
Kendall Need leads the scoring for Johnston with 16 points, 6 rebounds, a couple assists. We mentioned Gosling, who got off to that great start. She finishes with 15. McDermott doing a little bit of everything, 14, 8, and 6 for her. For City High, Aubrey Jones scores 24, gets 16 rebounds, but took a lot of shots to get there. 9 of 24 from the floor. Roca hit some threes. We talked about Nagumu. She had a 3-pointer, but it was mostly her getting to the rim. That matchup, though, 2 good defensive players, McDermott against Nagumu, and I think both those shooting percentages kind of played out because you have somebody good on the defensive end against you.
Right. That's one of Nakumu's strengths is her defense and her strength. We talked about that in the last preview show. And both guards did a nice job and really challenged each other today.
71-61 the final as Johnston moves on to the title game, second time during this 6-year run that the Dragons will be playing for a title. Last time it was against Ankeny Centennial, a CIML mate. The Jaguars and Scott DeYoung, and maybe one of the best coaching moves I have seen. A team that a lot of people didn't anticipate even going to be there. And to win the 3 games that they won, going back, what was that, 5 years ago now?
2016.
2016. Right? That was just an incredible performance. But with Scott DeYoung, you probably shouldn't be surprised with what he's able to do with that Jaguar program. But who will they face? Another CIML team? Let's find out right now. We go to game 2 of the doubleheader as Waukee, the number 1 seed, gets Waterloo West. Waterloo West had the big comeback and the victory against Cedar Falls, a Cedar Falls team with a lot of D1 players, a lot of experience from this state tournament. Waukee, at least early on, a little slow getting out of the gates. The first bucket of the game came from Megan Ernie there on the putback. But Waterloo West right away trying to beat the pressure, going deep up the floor. Yeah,
they started with a 10-7 lead. Waukee started 2 for 9 from the field. So jitters early, and I think Waterloo West's strength and athleticism got to them a little bit too.
They go inside, and it was a lot of Sahara Williams in this one. She played really well. Good finish there for Moore. Gabby Moore with the left-handed finish in the paint. Again, there's Williams with the spin. And she's got a bright, bright future in front of her.
Yeah, I mean, I love her, how she plays, the athleticism that she has, and the energy that she brings on the court every possession.
Bartholomew, she gets the run in there for Waukee, but the Warriors started to open it up here. Another breakdown, though, on the back end of that defense as West finally be able to beat it on the top end of the floor. But how about this? Dinnebeer can shoot it. She's not going to shoot it like that every time. It counts all the same, though, doesn't it, Coach?
She does, yeah. And she hit 6 threes on the day, 6 for 8. So it was going in for her. She was shooting with confidence.
Hope trying to answer back, but there again is Waukee. And another big story of this one on the back cut. But the three-point shooting for Waukee is they set a record 15 three-pointers.
It's always impressive when you can hit 15 three-pointers, and I mean, once about 3 or 4 of them went in, it just felt like every time the ball was going up, it was going in.
A lot of confidence as Waukee stretches it out. Here's Ernie again with another triple, and she's a player, Joe, you know this well, you have to guard her. She might be a post player, but she can shoot it from the outside.
Yeah, Waukee does a tremendous job of attacking the paint, getting paint touches, and then kicking out to wide open shooters. And if you can step into your three-point shot, everyone becomes a better shooter.
There's Bartholomew with the 3. Instant offense. I said it on the radio today, she's like Vinnie Microwave Johnson. She just comes in there, she's going to heat it up right away.
That's for sure.
As Waukee gets handshakes on their way out, and a big one for the Waukee Warriors as they advance on. Katie Dinnebeer with the honors. Final score 88-65. Leading the way, Katie Dinnebeer, those 6 3-pointers, 25 points, 4 rebounds, and a couple of steals. Lindsay Kelderman had 17 and 4, and off the bench, Bartholomew, 15 points, also 4 assists out of Bartholomew. Good to see. Waterloo West sees their season come to a close at 20 and 5. Sahara Williams, 23 points, 12 rebounds, got to the line, and she had struggled this year from the charity stripe. It goes 10 to 13. Polk with 13, 4 and 4, and Gabby Moore in double figures with 11 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists. But Waukee all over it. Coach, I want to ask you about this. So late in the game, Waukee was up in this one, 34 at one point. Started putting in the reserves. It was about a 25-point game, but then started to come back, and it was never out of hand. It was never a question of what was going to happen, but Coach Guest made the decision in a 19-point game with a couple minutes to go, get the starters back out there. Is that something you're also sending a message to some of your young players? You're going to get playing time. I expect you to play hard.
Well, and with having 3 games in 5 days and the championship is back-to-back, I think Coach Guest made the right decision, getting his girls some rest, and it worked out. He had an insurmountable lead at that point. I know they cut it back within 22 or so, but when you get to the semifinals, that's a really good team you're facing too.
Yeah, almost had double figures. The running clock in both games had it in the first one and also in the second. The 15 three-pointers, and felt like it was contagious. You mentioned that, Chris. It felt like this was going to be a team that whatever they threw out there, it was going to find the bottom of the net.
Yeah, and like Joe said, they were their offense. They were patient. They moved the ball from side to side. Once they caught the ball, they attacked the middle lane, got the defense to collapse on them and kicked, and they were catching the ball in rhythm and shooting it, and they just kept falling and kept shooting.
CISN basketball breakdown. The semifinals finish up here, and we will have an all-CIML championship game in Class 5A coming up tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. We're going to take a timeout, dive a little bit deeper into these games, what we saw, how it happened. The guys are going to help me out with that. We're going to take a look forward and a whole lot more coming your way. Also handing out our teammate and players of the game presented by Handle University. All to come here on CISN Basketball Breakdown.
I trust, yeah, I smell like success, this Elon Musk, huh? Everybody wanna be like us, we don't stop, cause the top just ain't enough, huh? Came here ready to fight on this night, you better just run for your life.
Spots up for 3. She hits it with Burns in her face. McDinnebeer skipped it, but she hit the 3. She's got the 16. They can take the lead on this possession. 3-ball, Maya McDermott.
The West Des Moines Valley Tigers are state champions.
Welcome back to CISN Girls Basketball Breakdown. Glad to have you aboard with us. I'm Tent Condon, joined by the head coach of the Valley Tigers, Joe Sigrist, and on the other side of me from Beyond Ball and Handle University, Chris Morrow. Guys, we saw a couple of great games here. The first one, Johnston with the win against Iowa City High, and really, Chris, felt like a game of runs. It was early on, real quick start from Johnston. City High came back, and there were a couple of different times you wondered if they were going to extend those leads, but back and forth for a real long time in this one.
Yeah, they most definitely did. The lead changed 8 times, and Johnston got up to about 11-point lead, I think, and then Iowa City High came back and hit some big shots to pull it within 4, I believe.
So we see right away, here's Kendall Need in the post. We talked about earlier the foul trouble for her, but Maya McDermott with the great look. Anna Gosselin, she played really well. Here's Maddie Mock, and you, Coach, you talked about her. She's playing on a bum wheel right now, getting around. You can see the big ankle brace that she's wearing. Love to see those kind of players, even if you're not 100% physically, playing out there hard.
Yeah, she didn't play a whole lot in the regional final. I think came out in the first quarter, but came back with a double-double today. And like I said earlier, anytime you can trust that one miss is going to be rebounded by your team, it makes you feel a lot better.
Saw a couple of highlights there from Maya McDermott. Didn't have the 30 points that she had in the quarterfinals, but she did a myriad of different things well.
Yeah, and it was awesome because at early games she was had confidence in her young players, feeding the ball, dishing to them, getting them open shots, and that's what you want from your point guard is having trust in your other players.
Saw a three-pointer from Molly Melt. Here's another one. How about that? Off the bench, freshman, ready to go.
And Coach Gillick needed that. You know, when Need gets those 3 early fouls, saddle out of the second quarter, Nelt comes in and hits 3 threes, and that's just huge from a freshman.
And we could see the confidence. We were sitting courtside for that one. You could see she was not scared of the moment.
No, she caught it. She let her fly, and they were all almost nothing but nets every time she shot the ball.
Gosling with the 3 at the end of the half, then starts the second with another one. Hits a lot of red. Friendly roll rims at Wells Fargo Arena, Coach?
I like to think so. We've always shot really well there, but you've got to get comfortable with. We've talked about the backdrop before, but once you get that comfort zone in, it starts to go in and feel pretty good.
Well, a great shooting performance from Johnston. They get it done and move on. 71-61 is the final. We talked about a lot of different pieces here. Off the bench too, Buchan. Zoe Buchan, she came in after Maddie Mock fouled out of the game, 3 minutes to go, and the decision by Coach Jellick is we're going to, instead of going with another post player and play the 2 traditional posts that they normally do, went with another ball handler late in the game.
Yeah, and anytime you can put some ball handlers and guards out there, space the floor, especially with the lead, I think that's a good decision by a coach.
Yeah, very impressive performance overall from this Johnston squad. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into that championship, certainly tomorrow and a little bit later here in the show. But who are they going to face? We talked about it. Waukee, the #1 seed, they flex their muscle in a big way. Slow start getting out of the gate, but it just didn't matter. Waukee, it looked like, oh boy, maybe this is going to be a game. And just like that, the way this team plays, the pace that they play at is incredibly difficult to deal with.
Yeah, we talk about sharing the basketball. They pass it so well. They pressure you on defense, and a little bit of everything took its toll on Waterloo West today. A very good team.
Yeah.
3-point shots from all over the place as Waukee hits 15. That is a new record at the state tournament. 15 3-pointers. They finished 15 of 38, but just chucking it from all over the place. 14, the old record, Joe.
Yeah, 4 times previously had been done, but I know Coach Guest works on this daily. They get paint touches to create wide open threes for their other shooters, and anytime you can step into those, you're looking really good.
Both Keldermans can handle the ball very well, of course. Dinnebeer, that's what a big part of her game. And then you got those shooters on the outside. Ernie can hit it. They got players off the bench. It's just a very deep Waukee squad.
Yeah, I mean, they got ball handlers, they got shooters, and that's, like Joe said, their offense is perfect for them. They like to drive, kick, and keep driving and kicking and getting the open shot when they're open.
That's what Waukee did, 88-65. We're able to get a little bit of breathing room there late in the game, get the girls off their feet. It is a quick turnaround. And Coach, tell us a little bit about that. You played in these games, the semifinal games, and then getting ready to play the next game. Girls are used to it, you think, but I don't think it's more the physical part of it. It goes a little bit deeper, the mental part of it.
It is. It takes a toll on you physically and mentally, but mentally is where you really have to regroup, because physically, you know, playing in a state championship game, there's nothing better than playing out there on Friday night, and I just think that as long as you're prepared mentally, physically it'll take over.
Yeah, as you go through, Chris, and you go through the squads and they're getting ready for it, it's a team that you know, so the game plan isn't probably going to be maybe as in-depth as what you've seen in the past. It's getting that mental side of it, and I'm sure that's something that you talk about during development, during the off-season too, is these kind of things that you have to be ready for. It's just not going out there and shooting jumpers all day long.
Yeah, you definitely have to have the mental mindset of, the crowd's going to be big, it's going to be loud. You have 24 hours to turn around and play another good team that you've seen all year. So it's just go out and do your thing, and then it's up to the coaching staff of who's going to make the adjustments, because you got 24 hours, so you don't have a lot of film that you can watch and be like, girls, this is what we're doing. So it's going to go on the fly, but they're used to playing each other. So
Well, it's time right now to hand our teammates of the game. Let's go to game number 1, that Johnston victory, 71-61, as they knock off Iowa City High and move to the championship game. For the Dragons, Chris, we'll let you name this one. Who do you got for our teammate of the game?
Maddie Mock, like we talked about, she playing on a bum foot. Limited Iowa City High to 1 shot and done with her defensive rebounds, but also on her offensive side rebounds. And not only that, she got a lot of and ones and finished at the free throw line. And also, I think she's one of the best passers for a big girl in the conference of the CIML, but in the state. She can find the open teammate, but she just played an all-around good game.
Double-double for Maddie Mock. She finishes with 11 points, 10 rebounds. Did foul out of the game, but her defense inside, a big part of it, and our Handle University teammate of the game for the Johnston Dragons. Game 2, Waukee, they ran away with it. We talked about their three-point shooting, what they were able to do from the outside in the 88-65 victory, but this is one certainly that you could go a couple of different directions. Who do you got for us, Coach Sigrist?
And it might be a little bit of a surprise because we had 3 girls in double figures, but we went with number 14, Peyton Kelderman. Because of her overall floor game, she struggled from the field, but she had 7 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. She just had an all-around really good floor game.
And only 2 turnovers the whole game. So that's big from your guard, is not turn the ball over.
A couple of good guards out there too. We talked about and poked so much from Waterloo West in that first game, the freshman. She did make a big impact, and Kelderman's defense was a big part of that. Also what she did against Connery, who was a really good three-point shooter when she was guarding her. I don't think she had a three-pointer until the 4th quarter of the game. So 7 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, the defensive end. Question for you guys. Let's start with you, Coach. Do you guys have metrics outside of the standard block steals, those kind of things? Are there anything that you guys are doing, advancing on in kind of the analytic world and trying to figure out the defensive side?
Oh, certainly. We do a lot of things defensively. We like to analyze from huddle where the points are coming from. A lot of times in today's day and age, we see that the points are coming from the blocks and from the outside on kickouts. So we try to take that away and game plan that, and it's easier said than done sometimes.
No doubt. You know, it's so interesting. I saw a shot chart not too long ago, and it came from both the NBA and the college, but the way that the shot charts have changed so much, and that kind of leads to what Coach was talking about there. Chris, when you go through the mid-range jumper, people say that it's dead. Well, I don't know if it's dead or it's just not a good shot anymore because of what defenses are trying to do to you.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many athletic players out there that take away the middle, don't let you. That's a huge emphasis from coaches. Is some like to give push middle, some like to give up baseline, force sideline baseline, but there's just so much athletic people out there that it's hard to get by somebody and get that pull-up jump shot, and especially with girls. A lot of them don't have that quick pull-up, but you know, the great players do. Those D1 players can get it off, and that's what they have to play at that D1 level.
And they're coming younger and younger. I mean, we looked at Waterloo West.
Yeah.
They have talent with freshmen and sophomores. We looked at some of those smaller class teams that are bringing everybody back. All of Waukee's team is coming back. I mean, these are girls that are getting into the gym at a very young age, and they're very talented and skilled. And
not only that, it's those players that are doing multi-sport athletes. A lot of these coaches, sometimes you hear coaches, well, you got to specialize in one sport. I don't believe in that. I think volleyball helps basketball players with their jumping ability, track, you know, their athletic ability of conditioning and running, but it's just a lot of different sports that correlate with each other.
And you're really seeing that, more and more studies being done on that level, and being a multi-sport athlete, just the importance of that. Well, we're going to break down the 5A championship game at least a little bit. We got a lot more to come on tomorrow's show about that coming up. Congratulations to our teammates of the game, presented by Handle University. On the other side, we're also going to hand out our players of the game. That's all to come here on CISN Basketball Breakdown. We're back with more in a moment.
I trust. Yeah, I smell like success, this Elon Musk, huh? Everybody wanna be like us, we don't stop, cause the top just ain't enough, huh? Came here ready to fight on this night, you better just run for your life. Run for your life. Run for your life. Run for your life.
Larkin spots up for three. She hits it with Burns in her face. Like Dennebeer skipped it, but she hit the three. She's got the 16. They can take the lead on this possession. Three ball, Maya McDermott.
The West Des Moines Valley Tigers are state champions.
Back with you on CISN Girls Basketball Breakdown. I'm Tent Condon, joined by the head coach of the Valley Tigers, Joe Sigrist, and from Handle University, Chris Morrow. Earlier today, after the games finished up, interviews with the players. Let's take a look and a listen to what the players had to say after the Class 5A semifinals.
I like to start fast. It really just kind of gets my game going as well as the team, so it was good to start out with that.
And Kendall got in foul trouble, so we just had to stay composed and relax and just keep shooting.
When I walked off the court, I was like, I just want to make a difference whether I'm on the court or not, so I tried to scream and shout, make sure everyone could hear me on the bench. Just wanted to cheer them on. It feels so nice to get on to the next round. Obviously, the three seniors, all 3 years we fell in the semifinals, so it was so good to me. This is like exactly what I was hoping for throughout my entire 4 years of high school. So like coming to this point and getting a chance to be in the championship, that's just I'm so grateful, and all praise to God.
It's hard, you know. It's hard to come up here 4 times in a row and not get what you want. And there's only one team in the class that's going to get it. So you gotta be able to handle adversity and everything that's thrown at you. Because sometimes the refs won't be on your side. Sometimes you don't make the right adjustments, and you just have to take control of the things that you can't control and handle your adversity.
Yeah, we weren't knocking down shots right away, but that didn't stop us. We just kept shooting, and then eventually they were falling, and then once they're falling, we just keep going. We've had a lot of momentum going. We just got to use that in the championship game, and it's going to be a tough game. We got Johnston. They play fast too, but at the end of the day, just keep doing what we're doing, and we'll be fine.
Welcome back. Great to hear from the players. The Iowa Girl, that's how it's always talked about, designated from the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union. And Joe, something that is incredibly important, just the history in this state. You're an outsider. You're not a native Iowan like Chris and myself, and apologies to you for not being that. It's all right. We still like you. But the Iowa Girl, the Girls Union just does such a great job of spotlighting that.
Unbelievable. I have loved my time, my 8 years as coach of Valley High School, and they really celebrate each and every girl that comes down to the state tournament with their names on the big poster, and it's a celebration of each and every one of them.
It does feel big time. It really does. And as we're down in the bowels of the arena and you see there and what they do in terms of staging and the carpet leading out to the floor and just everything else, they don't cut any corners. The Girls Union, they do a great job with that.
Yeah, it's fun for the kids to come down. It's fun for parents, grandparents. It's just a great environment, and you know, when we're sitting down there, you hear all the young kids behind us, and it's their dream. You know, that's why they come. Hey, Mom, Dad, can we go? Because they want to come down here and play sometime. But yeah, they do a great job for the players and the experience, and it's something that they'll never forget.
And they're always trying to make it better.
Yeah.
I mean, this year they added the putting the sticker advancing your team onto the next round, and I just love that. They're just always trying to improve the game and the tournament.
And they started a few years ago with the ticket punched when you win your regional final, and they do that now across all the sports. It doesn't matter if it's volleyball, softball, whatever sport you're talking about. Great for the community, the pictures that come out of it, everything else, the memories that they create. You know, get a lot of questions, and I get this on my daily job. People, wondering how much longer is it going to be that the Boys Association and the Girls Union are going to be separate. We're still the only state in the country that has that. Boy, I hope it stays that way for a long time, just because I believe that girls' side, they do such a great job.
They do. They let us do, things like this, film, interviews, all that kind of stuff that they just want to get these girls' names out there and their faces. And like you said, they're memories that'll last a lifetime.
Well, let's take a look at our players of the game here from today. Earlier handed out our teammate of the game, now player of the game. Start with the early game. It was at 10 a.m. as Johnston gets the win 71-61 over Iowa City High. Who do you have for us, Chris?
Anna Gosling. She came out. She started the game off well for Johnston. She shot 6 for 10 from the field, 15 points, 2 assists. Only 1 turnover. She just played really well. Great. Someone else when they were taking away Maya McDermott. So she just had a really outstanding game for Johnston.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that I saw too was Gosling talk about what she did scoring-wise, but for a lot of the game, she was guarding Aubrey Jones. She's given up a little bit of size there, but Jones is just such a good offensive player. Held her to 9 of 24 shooting.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic job defensively, and let's not forget the fact that when Need sat out with those 3 fouls, you have to have players like Gosling picking up the slack on the scoring side, because Need led them in scoring this year. So that really helped them out a lot, and she was tremendous today.
Our Handle University player of the game for the Johnston Dragons, Anna Gosling. 15 points, a couple of assists, 6 of 10 shooting, and 2 of 4 from downtown as the Dragons move on to the championship game. Game 2, it was Waukee and Waterloo West, and well, a lot of different directions you could go, but I think I know it's going to be Katie Dennebeer.
You're exactly right, Trent. She was tremendous today, 6 of 8 from three-point land, 3 of 3 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 0 turnovers. So that's exactly what you want out of your veteran point guard, and she delivered that today.
And did you mention she shot 8 for 11 from the field? So, I mean, she was on it today. And a big part of that record-breaking three-point shooting from the team. 15
3-pointers as a team, 6 of them come from Katie Dennebeer, the future Drake Bulldog at our Handle University player of the game. Class 5A championship is set. It'll be an all Central Iowa affair. Johnston looking for a title in the 5A level. Waukee has a title to their credit a couple of years back here. You know these teams well. You see these teams. You know these coaches. Schematically, when you're playing somebody that you know, somebody that you've played, this championship game, what's the difference? What's different going into this last one?
Well, like we said earlier, you have to be mentally focused. You have to have a very focused game plan as the coaching staff, and have your kids believe in it, because all the work is done. All the prep work is done. Now it's just who's going to handle the brightest lights. Last year in the championship game, I think there were 11,000 to 12,000 people. They had to open up the top sections in Wells Fargo Arena. And with the way those crowds were today, I think they're going to have to do that again tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge, huge crowd on hand. 6 o'clock is the start time for that one, and it should be an unbelievable environment inside of Wells Fargo Arena. And we saw it starting things out, the first game of the tournament on Monday morning, 10 a.m., with a couple of local teams involved in that one, with Johnston and Southeast Polk. And now for a title on a Friday night, what environment it's going to be.
Yeah, like Joe said, I wouldn't be surprised if they have to open up the top half tomorrow night. Johnston brought it today. I'm sure Waukee is going to bring it too. So it's going to be loud, it's going to be fun, and like we said, all the extra stuff that the association does for the girls, they're gonna have some cool stuff for pregame, and so all the players just gotta be mentally focused and go out there and play and leave it all on the line.
Well, tomorrow we are going to break things down even further. A deep dive into that 5A championship game with the Johnston Dragons and the Waukee Warriors. Make sure to stop back here. CISN on YouTube, you can find it, and we'll have that ready for you before the championship game. Thanks again to everybody out there for catching up with us and throughout all the highlights. Lots more basketball still going on at Wells Fargo Arena as the semifinals continue with the 4 other classes across the state. We'll get you up to date on that also tomorrow and let you know the other championship games. For Joe Sigrist and Chris Morrow, I'm Tent Condon signing off. Thanks for watching Basketball Breakdown on CISN.